So, welcome to the Friendly Geordies special episode.
Yeah.
We've got a great guest. Thank you so much for coming in, Heath.
Who's the great guest?
Well, Miss Love, of course.
So, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, cool.
But, you know,
Don't put that pressure on me. I don't know that.
the guy that has had a long esteemed television career is also in the studio as well.
Yeah.
Who's that? No, honestly. If that's happened,
That's what I want to know about. Like, that's, dude, I was just like, okay, all right. So how many shows have you done on TV?
Oh, like that people cared about?
No.
Oh,
No.
that's different.
All up.
Oh, there was a good 10 or 15 year stint where I was getting on board like a failed ABC project once every 2 years.
Where?
Yeah. So yeah,
Do we know any of them?
probably not. There was a show called Randling that was Denton's baby.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, just the your eyes searching for some sort of recognition.
I'm just looking because that's what I'm talking about. Like, you were from that era.
What era? The one where no one watched TV anymore.
Yeah, no one was watching TV, and then you kind of had to eke something out of it. And this is what I'm amazed by. You actually did. God,
Yeah,
like
for a
you
while,
did.
man.
I will say this, no offense, but your generation was fucked. Like you had nothing. You really did. Like you're too early for social media, too late for like television.
I don't know.
You're in this weird
Is that
interim.
Gen X?
I would.
Huh?
I would yeah. I think social media is the worst thing that's happened to me today.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, it's just like it used to be. Like once a year, you'd rock up and you'd do a good show in Adelaide or whatever, and they'd be like, "I like that. I'll come back next year." And now they're like, "You didn't give me 52 free sketches throughout the year of high quality. So why would you get my patronage?" And you're like, "Come on, just." Remember I was funny? Like, like feed the beast constantly. It's exhausting. Like, what's your take on the Olympics? And I've been doing it for a while now, and I'm like, I guess I could cut the clip from when I talked about the Olympics in 2005, but that seems really sad to say out loud. What's your take on Valentine's Day? Oh, it's just the same as the last 14 Valentine's Days. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we were incredibly lucky to get the TV show up.
It was a
Just
funny
bunch of
TV
kids who
show.
were like, we'd like
Just
a
saying.
TV show. And they're like, all right. And then it finished up, and I was like, I'd like another TV show. And they're like, that's not how it works. And I was like, oh.
What do you mean?
So
actually
brutal.
hard.
That's not how it works.
But that was
We were so lucky.
Really?
Just like Channel 10 gave a bunch of 24-year-olds heaps of money.
That's-
and said, do whatever you want. And I was
That's
just like,
sick.
this is the best. And then,
well, this is Ronnie's, right?
Yeah.
And so, what happened there?
I remember.
Why
it was
did
on
that
TV,
exist?
yeah.
Because like I remember just randomly being on television, and I was like, "What? Australia produces things?" And then like I was like watching it, and I was in trance, and then it just fucked off again, and I was just like, "Did I imagine what happened there?" I remember laughing at it heaps and being like, "This is a dangerous show," you know? It just didn't seem commercial at the time,
Yeah,
and then you just it was there. It was like it was bizarre. Sorry, but yeah. So like, I'd love to know the inside story of it.
I think back then there used to be mandatory content quotas
Yes.
for Australians.
Yes.
So Channel 10 were like, we got to make a show. And ours was the perfect combination of Australianness and inexpensiveness, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, like I say, I was so lucky. Like I've tried to replicate it since. We've walked in and been like, I've got a great idea for a show. And they're like, we don't care. We don't care if you've got a great idea for a show. I've like,
Well, they're like, we've got
are people
Gogglebox.
crying while they're renovating stuff? No. So
Yeah. Did you say crying?
Yeah, crying while they're renovating.
It's so true.
that
That's the
moment.
winning combo.
reality TV in the producer's room, and they're like, "Oh God, they're crying. Oh God, send me in. This is so good.
Yeah. Tears and timber.
So much better than paying talented people to do something." Oh my God.
Actually, that's a good idea. Tears and timber. That could be.
Hey, here's the question though: like, was Ronnie Johns? Was that cheaper to produce than say The Block? Surely it is.
Well, do they make money from the block? Because
Okay.
I mean, if we were
They're
on
not
Ronnie
making money
Johns and
from
we were like, "Hello, I'd like to return my Makita drill, please," and then like barrel the camera and like all the product placement and stuff like that, we would have maybe made money. But that was at the time where stuff like Big Brother was on, and the show cost however much it cost to buy a house in the Gold Coast, and then a bunch of GoPros, and then they would make money from people voting people in and out of the house. And so
with the little 50
to have a
cent
show that didn't
text.
pay for itself was insane back in those days. So yeah, I've got no idea. But I just
So you don't know how it was made.
I can go through the nuts and bolts of it. I don't know who at Channel 10 was insane enough to say yes. But they haven't been that insane again is the problem. Like,
How many?
But that's the whole thing, right? Like, it just seems like they've never ever taken a chance like that ever again, and I can't remember them taking a chance like that before. You just got this random little.
Oh, we're just literally the right place at the right time, and also I was doing the chopper sketches on that, and one of the first times I ever heard about YouTube, someone's like, "You're on YouTube," and I was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's the thing where people have watched you 4 million times." So I was like, well, "That's cool," like.
Yeah, we all had that. Hey.
Well, I had it right. So actually, the first time any of the chopper clips went up online was on like a porn website.
Which one?
Really?
It was.
That's
called-
funny you say that because I was just going to say the first time I got YouTube, I remember trying to look up porn. I'm like, this isn't going to take off. There's no porn.
Yeah.
In high school. I remember it.
Remember that?
exactly.
And then we used to do jackassy things like all of our generation did, and it was getting thousands of views. And then I remember one day just running to my friends and being like, we got to take it off. And I was like, why? And this was like, because maybe we can sell it to Fox 8. So dumb.
Yeah, and you did take it off.
So stupid, huh?
And you took it off.
And we took it off. Anyway, sorry. Now, what are we talking about again?
Yeah, it was. I think it was called awesome.net or something like that.
Awesome.
SM. Yeah. Anyway,
It was a porn site?
I believe so. I didn't delve into it. I wasn't like
So what was the
racing
video?
home.
Was it like?
It was the weather one, I think.
Oh, man. Fuck yeah.
I saw
remember
some
that.
clips of you last night while I was just anticipating this podcast.
It's jarringly 4x3, aren't they? When
But
you get
they're
used to a
still-
16:9 world, and you see something in 4x3, you're like, oh my god, just making it black and white, you losers.
No, it's classy.
From the old Ronnie days, there were some of them were really funny. There was one, you probably get this all the time, but there was one where you and your mates, you're all drinking something and waiting for someone to say a joke to like spit it all over. It was weird because everyone knew what was coming, but it just got dirtier and dirtier. At one point, someone had baked beans and they were spitting it on the face. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, we had the terrible decision to do a live show about 5 years after the TV show finished up. It was like, let's strike while the iron's hot. No one cared. No one was interested at all because it'd been 5 years. And, we all thought that we were making comedy for the world, for everyone. Turns out it was just 15-year-old boys. Literally just 15-year-old boys.
No wonder we were sitting at home
I loved it.
as 15-year-olds
Yeah.
being like, this is mad.
Yeah, I did
Like,
love it.
this is universal. It's accessible for everyone. Come and drink at our fountain. And it's just like, about 10 years ago, there was just a bunch of people who were like, man, I used to wait till my parents went to sleep and I'd watch your show and we're just like, oh. But,
How did it rate? Do you know?
I mean, compared to stuff that's on today, bananas.
Really?
Like, I don't know what good ratings are anymore. I think The Block gets like 1 million viewers or something for finales. We were getting like a cool 600,000 or something like that on a Wednesday night. But that's when people watch TV still. Like,
Yeah.
But this is the whole thing. I remember it being on really late. Am I wrong?
I can't remember how late it was now. I think there was a weird thing where they tried to organise it so that the chopper sketch came after 9 p.m. so that they could have all the swearing in there. So I think we started at like 8:35.
Oh, really?
And then the kind of censorship bracket changed and then I'd come out and be like, hello. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so you were hitting prime time.
we were adjacent to prime time. We could
You're
see prime
adjacent.
time from where we were.
Yeah.
Just American Rosso just got out of the way. We would have been.
They had a show too, didn't they?
Yeah.
The B team was your lead in, wasn't
B
it?
team, yeah.
Shit.
Did
That
you
was some
interact
good-
with them at all or no?
No. I mean, because they were a big deal back then. That's when they were doing like, I can't remember if they were Triple J or if they just
Nova
moved to
Breakfast.
Nova.
They surely would have been at Nova at that
I
point.
think it was Nova.
And I've heard some stories from Merrick since about what they were getting up to at Nova and just the amount of money they were making. I'm like, fuck. No wonder you didn't talk to us. Like, you would have just had your butler push us out of the way as we kind of walked through the studio. But yeah.
That's crazy. That's a good pull right there. Like that was some like I remember that period and it was like that was all funny stuff. Like, I really liked American Rosso as well because like my mum always used to play him in the car driving to high school, and I was like that process of like whatever, and then like a year later I'm like waiting in the car to before to get out. You just want to keep listening to him, but like as your show as well, it was like I feel like that was a really cool period where it was like good Aussie comedy, like genuinely really funny.
It just doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Yeah, we're a bit. I don't know. It
doesn't
Do you
exist.
reckon? Yeah, we're a bit jaded.
And also,
about it
I
now,
liked
so-
I like the level of Ronnie Johns' level of cheapness, because Mislav and I don't know if you agree with this, but Mislav and I are always huge proponents of the fact that if something is filmed on 4K and, you know, they've used it to film, I don't know, like epic war sagas that they put on HBO or something like that, I think it makes the comedy worse every time.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
reckon
better
too, yeah.
when you can tell that it's kind of low budget.
I would say that maybe Key and Peele did some really great high production stuff, just because they were doing like genre parody stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen their sketch, which is the Family Matters one, which is Reginald Vell Johnson confronting one of the kind of assistant directive vice presidents or something like that at the network. And I won't try and do it because I'll ruin it, but it's one of the greatest sketches of all time.
Really?
Okay.
Oh my god, it's amazing. But yeah, because they do genre stuff. But like, it was so weird for us because like we didn't know anything about TV. And I remember walking into the producer's office one day with a sketch I wrote, and it was like, it's not a great sketch, but I thought it was funny at the time. It was like, oh, so it's a bunch of helicopter dudes, you know, like gunship pilots. They've just finished their pre-mission briefing or whatever. And they're all running to their helicopters across the tarmac, and all the kind of Black Hawk helicopters are firing up. And somewhat like a braking officer's handing out cassettes, like mixtapes. First helicopter crew pops it in, and it's like Red Door by the Rolling Stones. Fires up, you know. And then the next one is like Gloria by Van Morrison. And then the next one is like, you know, Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. And then they all take off. And then the final one is they put the tape in, and it's like a storybook on tape. It's like, when you hear the duck go quack, turn the page. And my producer was like, you know, this is a $5 million sketch.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we'll need to hire at least one Black Hawk helicopter. And you've asked to have 3 or 4 on screen at the same time. And also, you want the rights to the Rolling Stones. Van Morrison. I don't think this joke is good enough. And I was like, yeah, fair point. I'll write something cheaper.
That's exactly what we just did. I just wrote a sketch for Jordan. I was like, and then a car smashes into a pole, and Jordan's like, well, we can't afford to smash a car into a pole. I'm like, oh, not with that attitude.
You just have to wait around for a car to hit a pole.
Just standing in the road. I'm like, for 24 hours. I'm like, just
Come
get
on.
hard day's work. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Fuck.
So what do you reckon your budget was for a sketch?
Oh, I mean, there was different. You do cheap sketches. Like, all the Chopper stuff was in studio, so it was pretty cheap.
Yeah, that cost the price of the moustache, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
And then, I mean, we got a tank for a sketch. But I think we just knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a tank, knew somebody who owned a tank.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got no idea. I mean, it was very cheap.
Yes.
Is the point of it? Like,
And then that moved on to you doing Chopper.
yeah, pretty much.
So you did it as the sketch there. You saw that it was wildly popular.
It was so good. Dude, like no one, like it is fucking on point. I remember it as like a youngster too, just being like, yeah, I remember cracking up watching it on TV. Like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. It
Yeah,
almost
him
sounds
doing
like,
bingo. I still remember that sketch vividly. Yeah.
Bingo one. Yeah. No, I do remember that too. But is it something that you just realized you're like, I'll try it, and then everyone was like, this is fucking good. You fucking nailed it.
The Chopper thing.
Yeah.
I did it at uni at a sketch show because all of us, we were doing.
Where'd
like,
you go to uni? Because you're
I
from
went
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Club Mac, Macquarie Uni.
Hey, me too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Boom.
Everybody still running the joint?
Who?
Don't worry.
I was a very like absent, like minded and physically and mentally absent to my uni experience, but it was all right.
That's why you go to Macquarie.
Yeah.
Minimize your contact hours.
I just did it because I grew up in Lane Cove and I'm like, it's close.
It's 10 minutes drive away.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so good.
That's why the only reason you go to Macquarie is if you live around there or you're like an international student, right?
Yeah. And then you go to Sydney Uni for the cronyism.
For the cronyism?
Yeah, pretty much.
totally.
The networking.
Oh, yeah. I was,
Absolutely.
that was too fancy for me. I would,
It's too much of a commute. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of gathered up a bunch of Sydney sketch performers, took a show to the Melbourne Comedy Festival. So we were all, sketch background people. I forget the question was now, but I answered something, so there we go.
Nice. Yeah.
remember
That
either.
answers it all.
I've also
It kind
forgotten
of
the
does as
question.
well. It kind of does. It's just like, you go through the university trout. You go to,
That's
you get a television role, which still seems insane to me now. And then out of that, your most popular thing was Chopper.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was doing Chopper at uni. That was the answer
It was
to the
at
question.
uni,
guys.
yeah.
And when we started doing the show in Melbourne, it was kind of quite well received. And then when we got commissioned, like got the TV show commissioned, they were like, that has to be in every week. That's the kind of non-negotiable. So I was like, and it was just
Wait, you didn't like that?
No, I love that.
Okay.
I was just happy to be there. Like, it's only now that I'm kind of jaded and broken. But
Don't say that.
How much do you hate your Chopper Reed character now? Do you hate doing it?
Is it a love-hate thing or?
I mean, it's. I took a year off last year and did stand up as me, and that was so woefully attended that I was like,
Oh no, bullshit.
Heath sucks. Chopper pays the bills. So yeah, but no, I have had times where I'm like, I'm so tired of this. I think more than anything else, I get really tired of other people's kind of misconceptions about Chopper.
What does that mean?
What do you
Actual
mean?
Chopper?
Well, I mean,
What, did they just like, as in like you're like some play school character and they're just like, where's Chopper gone?
No,
Chopper.
just the kind of there's this weird morality thing with Chopper where I'll be like, I'll say something awful and something that a criminal and a murderer would say. And it's like, you can't say that. I'm like, but I don't believe this. I'm not advocating for the murder of parking inspectors.
Surely no one says
I'm just
that.
saying that if you're a criminal, oh no,
Really?
Because like the thing
Like
with-
people in your audience, or
no, not in my audience.
Oh.
Everyone in my audience knows
they get
exactly
it.
what
Yeah,
they want.
exactly.
Or they're looking for a secret spot to smoke hash at the
Are
Adelaide
you
Fringe.
is this like an SMH article or something?
No, just like just people in the industry.
Really?
Thing. And like when I do spots in like places like Melbourne.
Yeah, there we go. Say no more.
We've had like this guy doesn't even. Do you even do the Melbourne Comedy Festival? I don't even know.
I do it purely to take a venue away from them.
Right.
So I book it every year just to give them a middle finger. That's it.
It's not exactly promoting. I don't know. I'm not a comedian, but it seems to me like it's not promoting. The art of comedy. Isn't the art of comedy to like shock and to offend?
That's what I reckon that you'd agree with this generally, right? Like I think that stand-up comedy should be a glorious celebration of like lowbrow crassness and and I hate people that always talk of it as like this esteemed art. It's like, dude, it's
We're the
not
truth
fucking
tellers.
classical ballet. Like
Without us, how will anyone find the truth? They'll read a book, you fucking monkeys. Shut up. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
The two things I'm so tired of hearing about.
And this
in
one as well,
stand-up
don't you
comedy.
reckon this is like the biggest trope every time? So it's like, do you know that like in the Middle Ages it was the court jester that told the truth to the king? It's like, dude, if he told the truth to the king, he'd be fucking beheaded. Shut the fuck up. Like he was a monkey that was dancing in front of the king. That's what was happening there.
And that other one that's like, everyone who's comedy is just so messed up, Everyone's got so many mental health problems in comedy. I'm like, don't pretend we're overrepresented. Just no one's gone to the mines and be like, are you sad? Imagine going to a construction site and be like, do you feel like punching things when you're alone? And they're like, yeah, I do. And it's like, well, here we are. Like,
Every industry.
The comedians have this kind of lexicon and sort of pathologizing, vocab for all of it. Whereas, if you like I said, if you go up to a 7-Eleven and go behind the counter, like, do you cry in the shower? It'd be like all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly,
Articles
yeah,
about it,
totally.
Whereas comedians are like, I
know.
got sad once. And the journalists are like, tell me.
Really? Yeah, that's very deep.
Sad,
Yeah.
you reckon?
There's no journalist going to 7-Eleven being like,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
when are you sad, mate? It's like all the time. It's like,
You guys like probably at the end of a triple shift. It's definitely not after half an hour of talking to someone. Telling jokes. I don't get as sad after telling
tell you
jokes
what,
for half an hour as I do after doing a triple shift
yeah.
in a really stabby neighbourhood.
Yeah, the 7-Eleven guys,
To be honest.
The 7-Eleven guys, like, I think I'd feel definitely less sad being a comedian, for example,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What do you think about the new lot of comedians? It used to be a bit rough people who were talented, were class clowns, and now it just seems to be privileged inner west kids, at least in Sydney. Like their parents are like top barristers and they've had the best cushy upbringing and they want to be comedians because it's the cool profession of the season.
Well, I mean, first of all, I definitely cannot claim that I didn't have that same privilege growing up. Like, I had years of stuffing around before I was like, Mum, Dad, I got a TV show. So, where I was just sort of like, I used to live off my dad's petrol card. I just eat lunch at Caltex every day.
Hell
Useless.
yeah.
And, like, I was just like...
Okay, that's you can't say that you didn't rough it then.
Oh,
7 years of eating egg salad sandwiches from
I had a
Caltex.
lot of chili beef and cheese pies, but
Yeah, I mean, that was
Yeah, you earned it.
I was extremely privileged. I kind of. My big concern about comedy these days is that the comedy is coming second, and that there's this. It's become sort of this autobiographical comedy drama with brief moments of levity. And every time I sit in a comedy show and there's a 20-year-old on stage telling me their philosophy in life, I'm like, I guarantee someone's done this better. I guarantee there's a person, let's call them philosophers, that have made this point better than you. And I get, you know, when you're in your 20s and you feel everything and everything's super important. By the time you get to my age, you just kind of, you see all the cycles come around again. You're like, sit down, shut up. But also, I mean, the main thing that I've learned about comedy is, you know, it's this insane thing where people believe their opinion is fact, which is this kind of delusion, this modern delusion where people will be like, you know, something is good or something is bad. It's like, well, you don't know empirically. So like if people watch comedy and they like it, then it's good to them. You know what I mean? Like,
even where it's like not necessarily comedy, it's just opinions. I guess there's always been opinions, but comedians' opinions where you take it with a pinch of salt, because it's like they're trying to dramatize it, they're trying to make it funny. It's just a different way of thinking. But now sometimes comedians are just giving TED lectures.
the thing that I dislike the most, and this is once again personal taste, I'm not pretending this is the kind of moral right or wrong of comedy, is this once again this sort of like 20 years ago people had a diary and they'd write down all their kind of inane, insecure thoughts in a diary. And now, you know, you see people up on stage, you're like, oh, I'm such a dumb bitch. I just had a hot birthday cake. And you're like, what is this? What is this? Like, just make a better decision. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow you on this journey. It's like the comedic equivalent of, you know, the person who's being chased in a thriller movie and they run past like all the knives and they pick up like a banana or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that. I'm like, I can't. There's a point where I can't. You're not the protagonist anymore because you're too stupid for me to kind of engage with whatever you're doing. And like, there are some comedians who are just these happy idiots that go around making mistakes and turning it into comedy gold. But yeah, there's just that weird kind of like, oh, this is my small world and I don't look out of it. Just I can't engage with that. But I mean, like I said, some people like it, and if you sell tickets, and then it's comedy and whatever. But it's just not for me.
I don't think they do sell that many tickets, though, to be honest. Even though they're propped up by an industry. I know exactly what you're talking about. But really, as you were saying, it seems to be just this vent of narcissism now. I was watching that, honestly. We just watched like the Sydney Comedy Festival that they just randomly chucked on Channel 10 after a show in Launceston. And it was like just, I don't know. But it was amazing because they were just sitting there and just being like, I don't know. So the 2008 global financial crisis, hey? Like that's just doing the housing. There was like things they were talking about. Like there was, and as you were saying, it was amazing. It's just every comedian came out and it was all outward, and they actually had like it was commentary of the world. There was none of this just exactly what you're talking about. Just this like hour of how terrible is my life, and then you come to the conclusion at the end, not really. Yeah, your life's not that bad. Just shut the fuck up.
Funny
There's
too.
not,
But there was. I remember around 2015, 2016, Judd Apatow did like this lecture on comedy. This is before masterclass and all of that stuff. And one of the things that I remember about his lecture on how to be a good comedian was make your acts about yourself. She's like, stop just commentating on outwardly things, but go deep inside. What do you feel about things? What is your story? And that's going to be funnier.
So he's patient zero for this.
He's to blame.
He's got to be.
Garbage, yeah.
It's garbage, isn't it? It's so much better. Honestly, I'm telling you now, like I've always thought this about your act. I'm just like, I'm glad he's just getting up there with a cheap fucking wig and sunglasses and just doing a character. That's way better. It's like way better, and it's also just this thing of like, I don't know if you agree with this, but I always just think that like, if you're going to talk about yourself, you should either come from like a cartoonishly wealthy background, as in, You know what I mean? Like just like some aristocrat in Britain. Tell me about your life there. Or you're like a smackhead. Don't give me anything in between of just like, you know, like, oh, I did IT and like, shut up. Like, I don't want to know that.
That's a good point. Two extremes, yeah.
You have to have some extreme life if you're going to talk about your life. But
Or just a perspective or something interesting. But I mean, I kind of had this theory ages ago. Like you guys, I don't know if they still exist, the Footy Show. Where there's a bunch of ex-football players hanging out. Yeah. And I always used to sit there watching that being like, what is this? Like, I know it's allegedly a show about football, but it wasn't. My theory is it was mateship being broadcast to lonely people. It was a guy sitting in a one-bedroom flat who had no one to hang out with, and Fatty would put on a dress and he'd be like, bloody Fatty's done it again. And so my kind of feeling is there's this weird, like, you're not buying tickets to a comedy show, you're buying tickets to a friendship for an hour where you get to hang out with a quirky, weird person who talks you through their ADHD diagnosis or whatever it is. And then at the end of it, you kind of, I don't know, you haven't laughed, but you've made a connection or something. It's just...
But the problem is you don't want to be friends with that person anyways. I wouldn't want to have a friend like that.
Yeah.
It's just
constant. I don't, but that's...
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah.
Who does? Who wants a friend that's anxiety-ridden?
Obviously,
thinks their life is way worse than it actually is. Their biggest problem is that the Uber delivery was slightly late, and that's annoying. I don't want that as a friend.
No.
Obviously, a lot of people, though, do like that. I mean, they have to.
No, I swear, again, I just think that it's just the industry trying to push this out, and it really just doesn't seem to be reflecting in the results. Like, you look at it online, it's not going viral. You look at their sales, it's not fantastic. Yeah, some of them, I guess, will like have sort of like a name, but again, they're not really doing it a bit, but not the same level.
I don't think anyone
sort of
that
just
likes comedy would be like, this is killing it. Someone
like I'll say this, like I bet you're selling way better than all of the comedians that you're talking about.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Damn it, I hope
Yeah.
so.
I think that you sell better than Chopper doing fucking stories about his life.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, I did.
How did that go?
Oh, it sucked. It was
What?
It was.
Did he just like tear you apart or something?
No, it wasn't even that. It was. I was hoping there'd be something like.
Was this when he was like already sick or?
No, he must have been on the way though.
Right.
I think it was about 2005 or 2006.
Shit.
And like, do you remember Zoo magazine?
Yeah, of course.
Gem magazine, one of those. I think it was
we
Zoo
were young
magazine.
men. Come on, those ladies.
Yeah, you guys were Ronnie Johns fans. Of course, you were reading Zoo.
Oh yeah,
those ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies of the night.
I guess.
Ladies of the night.
I don't know. It was always like chicks.
Well,
girls in
Nikki
bikinis,
Webster.
and then
Yeah.
on the page there was like,
And then it was like a
graphic
puzzle.
photos of a speedboat accident.
That's right. Oh fuck! Do they make that anymore? Is Zoo
Check
still a
out
thing?
No
Tracy's
way.
Bonkers, and then the next page was like, Darren lost his leg.
It was the most Australian thing.
Yeah.
It was like Blokes World. Remember that show
It was like
on SBS?
I remember an episode of Zoo magazine that had like
it was a show.
an
of course. Fuck.
Anzac bikini model on it, and I was like, "This is amazing." And the title's literally like "Breast We Forget" or something like that, and everyone was fine with it. And I was just sitting there
So
being like,
good.
"What is going on here? How is this okay?" Like,
It's
it
incredible.
was, but like, you know, it was done respectfully, obviously. But
But sorry, I cut you off. So Chopper.
they got us together for a photo shoot, and we were just kind of hanging around beforehand. And I was a bit nervous because, like,
You would be.
it was, you know, I wasn't nervous of, you know, getting stabbed because it was a photo shoot. There was like cameras and stuff there.
But even just Chopper Reid looking you in the eye and just being like, you
it's
hurt
just-
my feelings.
I'm like, I'm a little white kid from the North Shore doing a funny sketch with texture tattoos. And then there's this 6'6" dude with missing
He's
teeth. and no-
6'6"?
He's so much taller than me. I'm bad with heights, but he's
Right.
much taller than me. Like,
6'6" is like fucking
he
giant.
felt 6'6".
Okay, yeah.
But if it was him and me at like a boxing way,
Yeah,
they'd
you'd
be
be-
like, cancel the fight. That guy's gonna
Yeah,
die. He's
totally.
gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it go?
It was just weird. He was kind of so concerned with being like the alpha dog and establishing. I'm like,
Oh my-
mate, I'm literally impersonating you. There's no way
I'm a fan.
I think I'm the alpha in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It's like it's
I'm the
it's a
original
little bit
Chopper.
like-
Don't forget it.
Yeah.
if Robert Downey Jr. went around Comic-Con and like sort of had a little weird tantrum about everyone dressed as Iron Man, be like, I'm the real Iron Man. Don't
Yeah.
forget that. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, mate.
Shit.
And then just monotone answers. I'd be like, what have you been up to, mate? He was like, not much. Oh, yeah, before that, prison, you know, and you're like, oh, cool, this is... And there was just nothing doing, really. Like,
Wow.
What do you think that was?
I don't know. Like, I've met a few people that like he was a really smart dude, but I don't know.
Was it
Dude,
early
it's like there was
days,
other,
maybe?
huh?
Was it early days that you would do? Like,
Sometimes what happens is people like that have some sort of an inflated ego. When they meet a comedian, they have this fear of being humiliated by them, so they always want to show you that they've got the bigger cock. Don't try to cross over a line that's going to humiliate me in front of everyone else. So they're never even ready to laugh. They're just constantly scared of you.
Yeah. It is that alpha dog thing where it's like laughing's gay, and you're like, it's not. It's actually really fun.
and also, it's like, didn't he do a comedy tour himself or speaking
I
tour?
think once again, in
That
a
was
weird
after.
way, it's a little bit like some of the comedy we were just talking about, where it's like,
My
well, I
lord.
guess it's called comedy because it's not drama, so just call it comedy because I don't know. I think it was. I never got to see one, but they sounded horrific. Like,
Did they?
yeah.
This is honestly what I heard of like a guy that I know that used to open for him and travel around. And he was saying that he had that real prison, I don't know how to describe it, but there's that sort of mentality where they're kind of just normal and nice and be like, yeah, everything's all great, everything's great, it's good, Daddy, you just get your Macca's, it's great. And then you just be like, that cunt looking at me the wrong way?
Yeah.
You that fucking dog. And then you just be like, Chopper, just drive to the fucking place. I'm fucking and then just
Yeah.
stalk a guy on the road.
Amazing.
You know, do a U-turn and just be like, you fucking
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. He doesn't have to try. He uses the character, right?
No, he is obviously. So like, but I don't know. To me, I was always thinking that would be great to watch, but it's not. You never saw it, but you heard.
Oh, I mean, I just sort of never had the chance. I think I was like the first 2 years after Ronnie Johns, I was away for 10 months of the year touring.
Shit.
Then I'd come home and
Across the
try-
country?
Yeah, pretty much. And then I'd try and reacquaint myself with my then girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know. And also, there's a point where everything Chopper just feels like work. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if someone came up to me now and they were like, "Do you want to put on the Chopper movie?" I'd be like, "Oh, please,
No.
please don't."
It's the last thing you want to see.
You're a chef. You don't want to cook.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated, and I heard stories. I mean, that's the thing about being that guy who does Chopper is everyone tells you the stories anyway. Like, I've just accumulated so many kind of average stories about Chopper.
What? Just like I was in the news agency. It was like he bought a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
He
few
reads,
good ones.
he reads the
I think it
paper.
was.
He went for a Sydney Morning Herald. Can you believe that?
Thought it'd be a zoo man. Yeah.
The Homeless Man magazine. Which one was that?
A big issue.
The big issue.
Big issue.
Yeah, you had a big issue.
Well,
Okay, so then you did your live show,
Yeah.
and you're not going to do it again
Oh, as me,
as you.
as Heath. No, I'll do it again.
You'll do it again.
What was the sort of the sort of style of that show? Like,
Yeah. What was the
It
gist
kind
of
the
it?
same thing. Everyone was like, "What's it like doing comedy as you?" I'm like, "It's so easy. Like, it's easy mode." After doing character comedy and having to filter everything through the character and the
Yeah.
persona and the voice and blah blah blah, which I'll freely admit I'm doing a lot less of. The characterization of it all now. But yeah, I was like, the first time I was on stage as me, I like made an expression with my face and everyone laughed. I'm like, oh, I don't have my face like covered up anymore. It's actually a lot easier. So I don't know, the fact that I've been competitive with a lot of cowards that show their face at every show means I've been doing pretty well for a long time.
Yeah. Sounds right. It sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I told
definitely.
myself. But no, it was good. Like it was just like obviously being Chopper, you can't. There's no kind of self-doubt or vulnerability or nuance or anything like that. It's like love it or hate it, And so there are a few things that I couldn't talk about as Chopper that I kind of got off my chest as me. But it was just comedy, Everyone for the last few years before that was like, look, all these jokes aren't like crime jokes. They're just jokes about air conditioners and Vietnamese pork rolls or whatever it is. You don't need to be Chopper to do them. I'm like, yeah, but I can still. So I thought, why not get rid of all the Chopper and just sort of see how good I was, I guess. And yeah.
Well, when you are doing Chopper, because you've done it for so long, is it kind of just automatic now? Do you think that you have two brains?
There was a while. I remember my mum ages ago told me that, you've learnt another language when you dream in that language in your sleep.
No way.
And I was starting to have Chopper dreams where I'd walk around being like, cup of coffee? Yeah, might have one of them. And I woke up screaming, just being like, no, stop. Get out of my head. But yeah, it's a kind of on and off switch now, like, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Fucking hell. That's a weird, like.
So in a way, like he
cellmate
kind of
to
keeps
have,
living
you know?
on in your brain, like as a horror. He is. He's Freddy Krueger. He's just like, I'm back, Cash.
Yeah, he is.
It's amazing.
Yeah, go on, champ.
Freddy Krueger, but he's helped me pay my mortgage.
Yeah.
What do you reckon it says about Australia? Because it's an old question, but you'd be qualified to know about it. But it's just, I'm endlessly, and the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I get it. But now it's true. It's just the fact that it was a convict colony. There's just so many like tendrils of it that come out of that. And I think that one of the main ones is that it seems to be that the only thing that we like is prisoners and sports stars. That's it.
And being told what to do.
Yeah.
It's amazing how Australians like to think we're laid back, but we just love being told what to do. Chilling out. Yeah. Put on a helmet. Do your seat. Like, I don't want to say that. But then you go to Europe and everyone's naked in the park drinking beer and you're like, oh my God, you guys are so much more Australian than we are. Like,
Something changed. I swear it changed. I swear, like, in the, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, it was like, yeah, we're fucking crazy. And then all of a sudden it's like, I can't sit here on a witch's cone and a fucking,
Yeah.
Something, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think we kind of got this weird American aspiration as well, where we're trying to be more like them, and which is I find bizarre because they're clearly an example of what not to do. But yeah,
It's just that. It's just like, but they're on TV. That's all that's happening.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're like,
Total brainwashing.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
But like that's something. Like it's just like, okay, you really lucked out on the recipe for success. You didn't luck out on the recipe for success, but you got the recipe for success there, which is just like, I'm going to impersonate a prisoner. And then everybody's just going, and like, obviously, that's just going to strike a chord with Australia immediately.
Yeah, and I don't think of even just the prisoner thing. I mean, like, one thing everyone always talks about is the swearing. And I used to work in construction, so you'd be in like construction sites, and everyone would be like, like fuck was just the word you said while you were thinking of the next word. Like, it wasn't bad, and then you kind of get on TV and we all pretend that doesn't exist. And I think for me to come on TV and be like, no, fucking get it up here, everyone's like, yeah. That's how I talk. I talk like that with my mates, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was relatable.
And in that moment, I became Fatty Vorton on the Footy Show. So
Yeah.
Sick.
And it's still like Gen Z loves villains. That's the
Really?
ultimate kind of social media star. That's why Spanian is so big. Your character's evergreen.
True.
The new generation would love Chopper Reed just as much as the older generation did.
But this is where it does get caught up a bit, is there's this new kind of morality in stand-up where it used to be 20 years ago, you could say something awful and everyone would be like, that's an awful thing to say, but it's pretty funny. And now you say something awful and everyone's like, no, but that's wrong. And you're like, yeah, but it's a joke.
That's why I'm saying it. It's like kind of the point.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a question about that. Every comedian keeps saying like PC police has gone mad.
I don't do that.
But it's just like you were supposedly getting in trouble during your old show days about talking about religion and politics. What was it like getting that kind of criticism in 2007 or whenever?
I don't know. It was kind of exciting. I mean, we did that sketch, High Five a Muslim. High Five a Muslim Day. Which I wrote, and everyone's like, it's fine, but it needs something. And then one of my mates was like, this should be presented by Jesus. And we're like, oh, cool. Now it's working. And then, after that, we were kind of expecting all this backlash. We got one, like, my producer loved telling everyone we got a fatwa put out on us. But obviously a fatwa is just a religious decree. And he was basically giving us the thumbs up. He was like, yeah, this sketch show's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, so my producer was like, we got a fatwa put out on us, and then didn't explain the rest of it, that it was actually basically like a halal stamp of approval. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was harder in those days because if you were angry about something, you had to get out a pen and paper and look up the address for the network, and like you couldn't just sit there on the toilet about to pass out drunk and be like, I hate that guy.
Yeah. 95% of people gave up before they got to the point of actually.
Oh yeah. When you go to buy a stamp, you're like, I don't hate it that much.
Yeah.
So I've calmed down a bit.
There was a bunch of. So back in the day, it wasn't really as serious as people make it out to be.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's that serious these days, but anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
guess
I don't know. The whole kind of outrage machine thing, it's like, does it exist? I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It's just, I think it's just people trying to get views for themselves, and they really aren't even that committed in the eventual outcome. And, it only just helps people. People are trying to get cancelled now.
I find that.
That is very lame when that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Eminem.
And it's like they're clearly just being like, this is too
That's
dangerous. And then
Eminem.
society deserves like,
Yeah, like Eminem.
It's not though, is it? Like, it's just
man,
not,
like-
it's not that edgy. Huh?
It's like Seinfeld at the moment.
Is he doing that, is he?
He was. I don't know if it's right now. My kind of, my old man perception of what the zeitgeist is anything in the last decade. But yeah, I'm sure there have been times recently where Seinfeld's gone around whining about how young people don't like him. It's like, man, you're 70. He's like, I don't even go to college campuses anymore. It's like, because you're 70. They're 20 and you're 70 and you're like talking about Pop-Tarts and they don't want that because their perception of the world is that your generation has burned it to the ground and are passing it over to them. And you rock up in one of your many cars and you're like, what's the deal with? And they're like, you're not relevant to us. What are you doing?
Pop-Tart movie. Did you watch that?
No.
Fucking hell, save yourself.
Oh, no, I have no interest in it at all.
For a guy like Jerry Seinfeld who did clean comedy for all of his life, he makes a big fuss about how everyone's getting canceled. His comedy, you can't get canceled on this stuff.
That's
I don't
true.
even understand what his problem really is.
Yeah.
It's okay. One of the weird things about having kids is that you start to identify what immature behavior is. I know this sounds really boring now, but then like
No, it doesn't
once you've
actually. That
seen-
sounds really interesting. But
Once
yeah,
you've seen your 5-year-old have a tantrum, all of a sudden you start seeing a 7-year-old like Jerry Seinfeld having a tantrum. You know what I mean? Like a 5-year-old will sit in the corner of the room. You're like, not now, mate. I'll get to you. I've got other stuff to do. And they will shit themselves for attention. Like, look at the mess I made that I'm sitting in. And then when you look at Seinfeld, you're like, you just did that, mate. Like, no, you know what's paying you attention? So you did a big poopy and you wiped it on the walls and you're like, oh, look at the mess. And it's like, just... And that's why the kind of the first round of Trump years was so exhausting because I'd have my kid and I'd be like, mate, you've done the wrong thing. No, I didn't. I saw you do it. I saw you do the wrong thing. No, I didn't. And then you turn on the news and Trump's like, we didn't do it. We all saw you. We were looking at you when you did it. No, I didn't do it. Nothing to do with me. And it was the same thing with Scott Morrison too.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
oh my God. Having like children at home and turning the news on and seeing Scott Morrison, I was just like, I can only deal with so many 5-year-olds in my life. Like, literally there was a moment where I was at home and like it was during COVID or something like that, and my kid drew some wheels on a box and sat in it. I'm like, Dad, look at me, I'm in a truck. And I was like, good on you, mate. And I turned on the telly. Scott Morrison's in a helmet and a high vis in a truck. And I'm like, look at me, Jenny, I'm in a truck. I'm like, oh my
that's
God.
amazing.
There's too many.
That's incredible.
How is this guy? I was just like, I can't deal with it. I just
Spot on.
like,
God,
Prime
isn't it
Minister's a
amazing?
5-year-old.
Yeah, spot on.
And there's photos of him like in a submarine wearing the hat, being like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "That's how I entertain my 5-year-old." I take him to like you buy him a funny hat and take him to a submarine. So I was just like, "Oh wow."
There's a really good embodiment of what he was like too. You could just tell it was like when the camera's on, he's just like, yeah, and then they're off. He's just like, I don't know what the fuck he does. He's probably just like, turns on who he really is, which I think is not a fun person.
I don't know. I'm still. Well, I'm not still. I've moved on.
Yeah.
But now that we're back here again, I was always obsessed. I'm like, how are you the smartest dumb guy or the dumbest smart guy? Like, are you the world's most incredible genius where you like walk out and you're like, Jenny and the kids, and then after you come off, you're like, all right, let's plan our next strategy? Or does he just bumble around being like, oh,
I reckon he bumbles around. He's like, oh, I'm gonna play the ukulele
No,
again.
this is the whole thing that's insane about him. It's just like, I don't know, because it's got to be a combination of the two, but I do know that he is a genius bureaucrat. Like
Fair
in his realm of just coming up with those bullshit little paper games that they use to try and like elevate themselves.
Right, okay.
He was always just like unnaturally skilled.
Really?
At just
Yeah,
being
fair
like, hey, yeah, you didn't fill out 5-4A. Yes, advantage Morrison, like every one of those kind of guys.
I did. I'm reading his book, and he's an incredibly dumb man.
But like, why is it okay? So is he an idiot savant then? Is that what's going
Yeah,
on?
he
Because
is.
everybody always like
he's
you don't rise to the top like that, you know?
He's good socially.
I think the perfect combination of stupidity, arrogance, and ambition is so much more powerful than being competent at anything.
That's so
Like,
true.
I think like Trump's biggest weapon is that he's the world's most confident moron,
yeah.
and like that is unstoppable.
It is unstoppable.
That's unstoppable.
You're right.
You did the wrong thing. No, I didn't.
You know what I was thinking
He's
about the
really
other
viewed it
day?
the wrong
You know what I
thing.
was thinking about the other day? I was just like, damn, that is a powerful, powerful mindset. Like, it was just like the whole election was rigged and stolen thing, right? And it's just like, you know it wasn't, but he's so adamant about it. And he says it so much that you're just like, well, I wasn't counting it. Like,
It's true.
it's honestly incredible.
And I think
can
most
work.
Americans have that confidence. They did a study in Australia
Yeah.
why when Americans come here and they join different businesses, they tend to succeed at a higher rate than other Aussies. And I think their conclusion was essentially they're just more confident. They come in with the mindset that they're the shit. And it works like 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
It really
confidence
does,
is
yeah.
half the fucking battle. Right?
Whereas Aussies are
And Americans just naturally, innately have that. Anybody that goes there says exactly the same thing about them, and they'll say like in corporate meetings and things like that. Like they'll just be very certain about all these statistics that they're talking about. When it's just like there's nothing to it, you know. Like it's a very consultant kind of view of the world. Like American consultants are just more alpha than
there's less self-doubt in their brains. And I've noticed this as well. When an Aussie sitting at a table at a meeting thinks of something, they'll think twice or 3 times before saying it. It's like, oh, maybe it's stupid. Maybe I shouldn't say it. American, before it pops into their mind, they'll be on their lips.
But I like the fact that we think we're pieces of shit.
I think
It's nicer.
I think not knowing stuff makes you a much happier person, though.
Yeah.
I think if you can liberate yourself from tedious grounding things like facts
Yes. Yes.
and get stuck into just backing yourself into like you will take over the world.
Mm.
You could find me a dog with brain damage, and if I had enough cocaine, I could make it president of the United States. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
What do you reckon that's what Morrison did?
I've got no idea.
See, he's a mystery, isn't he?
But he was pushed up to fill a void, though. Like,
But this is
remember
the thing,
the
like
Liberal
he
Party had that
maneuvered himself
massive claim
into that
out.
position.
yeah,
This is the thing that I'm always, because I'm always half in your mind and half in the mind of like, no, he is a fucking genius. Because the other thing is like, you know, it's hard to be in that faction in the Liberal Party of just like, I'm acceptable to like the Dutton types and acceptable to the Malcolm Turnbull types. So like position yourself there and just be like, I'm the compromise candidate. And clearly thinking about that and positioning yourself there.
yeah, kind of, yeah. I guess it's sort of positioning yourself as the Cuban equivalent to tracksuit pants.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got tracksuit pants.
Yeah. That's
They're
what you
not the
want.
best garment that you own. You know what I mean? Like,
Nah.
But they do the job.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm just going to get milk.
just human
Yeah.
tracksuit pants. Yeah.
I'm gonna get
So,
milk.
What's Australia up to under Scott Morrison? Oh, just popping out for some milk.
Yeah.
I
So
think
true.
he'd be a fun hang. Like he'll tell
Do
you,
you?
because his book is essentially just him telling.
Are you actually reading it?
Yeah, well, I was,
Fucking
but
hell.
his book is essentially him telling cool stories of what other interesting people have said to him.
Yeah.
No way.
Nothing in his book is something that he has no original idea.
Yeah.
It's always like when I met Mike Pence, he said if you want friends in politics, get a dog.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
It's a mildly interesting thing, but it's not even his. So his
Yeah.
book is like when I went to America, Bill Clinton
Yeah.
said this to me, and it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But what are you
But what
saying?
did you do that was...
Nothing. He just has stories about
funny.
like
That is so
He's just
funny.
a conduit for interesting experiences.
That's so funny.
That's it.
That was
And I
amazing.
think
And
so-
then I read Malcolm Turnbull's biography. You know what that was? It was just him relaying like mad lunches that he had.
Same thing.
That was it.
Same thing. And then like I loved my dad.
But I think
very
Malcolm
much.
would have more original ideas than Scott Morrison.
Yeah,
Well,
but it
if
was
you
just
hung out with
amazing.
Scott Morrison for 2 hours, I bet you'd say, I want to hang out with this guy again. His stories are mad. It was a great time.
Malcolm Turnbull or Scott?
Sorry, Scott Morrison. And I think that's why he became the prime minister.
But he just seems so slimy to me. He seems like so obviously...
When you
It's so-
smile,
yeah,
it's
he
literally
does.
like,
Huh?
like this is a smile. It's like
Don't you think like, okay, I don't know if you think this, but don't you think that he seems very insincere?
Scott Morrison.
Yeah. Whereas like with Tony Abbott or Malcolm Turnbull, for instance, it seems like that's who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Tony Abbott, I'm like, I know what you stand for, and I don't agree with it, but at least I know what it is. Scott Morrison was this amorphous, like, jellyfish of morals, and I was just like, what do you do? I'm like, Curry, what do you do? I'm like, no, you're the leader of the country. I want to know where you're.
Yeah, and also, do you actually cook curries? I don't even know that. Yeah,
his
okay.
curry
I was
looks
just like,
shit.
No, what, Jenny, the girls. That's like, you're too stressed out about it. I'm like, what are you? Are you like a vicious blood drinking monster? Oh, God, it's not.
Yeah.
I get the ukulele. You know,
He just doesn't even. He doesn't know what he is. I think. Yeah.
like his personality is. I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
What do you
What are you
want?
going to do for Australia? I don't know. What do you want? What
Yeah, exactly.
I'm up for whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the worst guy to have dinner with.
Yeah.
What should we get? I don't know. What do you feel like, mate?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Scott. What do you? Have you got any? No.
Convictions at all?
I like burgers. I like nails. Whatever. I like a bag of hammers. Is it? Does that make you happy?
It's fucking hell. It's true. It's true.
Anyway, I don't know how he's talking about Scott Morrison. I assume it's my fault.
No,
It was your fault.
It was my
But you were talking about the fact that like now that you've got kids, you can see that everybody's having a tantrum.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Seinfeld was having a.
That's a good.
tantrum.
That's
And how
interesting.
Seinfeld was having a bit of a tantrum. So what? You recommend having kids, do you?
Oh, a big part of my show last year where I was doing it as me was like, you don't have to. Like, you
Really?
don't have to. I'm putting all the effort I can into parenting, and it is hard. Doing it right is hard.
Fuck.
Like caring about it is hard because like I used to.
Dude, this is what. Okay, sorry. Can I just interject for this? Because this is something that I hear all of my friends say when they have kids, and I'm like, is it hard? And pretty much exactly the same thing. They'll say, if you don't want it to be hard, like if you want to raise a piece of shit, it could be easy as fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so is that the deal?
Good old days. Turn 12, shove them in a mine, shove them up a chimney, for tuppence once a week. Like, and then by the time all their emotional problems came to fruition, you were like dead of scurvy or whatever it is, you know. Or,
Good old days.
and they were there like swearing at your grave, and you're like, I don't care. But it's just, I mean, it's sort of hard to explain. But like, I used to just have my problems. Now I've got everyone's problems. Now, not only am I trying to kind of organise a tour and write a show, and, you know, put things in place for when I'm away. But now I'm also, you know, my kid's getting bullied at school. So that's my problem. So now I'm getting bullied at school. And also my other kid's failing. So now I've got to put more effort into my maths homework. And it's like, and it's just like, oh man, I just, you know, and it's hard.
What about this?
It's
What do you
satisfying.
reckon would happen to this? What if you just did 2 times as many chopper shows and then just hired like a nanny and a butler to do the parenting for you?
He's saying this because he wants to do this, by the way.
No, but what do you? Obviously, yeah, but like you know,
That's his plan.
Well, I mean, the better plan would be to just get someone else to do the chopper shows and license it out, and then I could just hang out with my family.
Whoa.
Because like the weird thing is,
insane.
I do love hanging out with my kids. Like we had a big holiday in Europe a couple of years ago. Best time of my life. 5 weeks, just hooning around like Croatia and Slovenia and all this kind of stuff. The best time. Going to museums. Like for the first time ever, like me and my kids were hanging out just like riffing and like just laughing our asses off with each other. Genuinely the best time of my life. And then I figured out, I did some maths. I was like, if I had, I reckon, I don't know, conservatively $10 million, I could do this once a year for the rest of my life. Just have the best month of my life with my family. And then I figured out that like Elon Musk could have stopped working 40 years ago and just had the best life, but he didn't. I'm like, I'm so angry at you. Why are you buying Twitter, you moron? Go to Croatia and have a swim, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? Find someone you get on with and drink a few beers with them next to a creek or something. My God, you're a moron.
That's autism.
Wait, why does that anger you?
Oh, it just made me so angry that he's just wasting his life like that. Like, go to Dubrovnik, have some pizza. Like, you don't need to ruin Twitter as your legacy. Like, you can't just go around calling everything X and pretending that's a life, you weirdo.
You're not a mastermind criminal like a Bond villain, right?
Oh yeah, well, I just got so angry. I'm like, why? Like, paradise is right there, and you're choosing not to go there. But like, honestly, if I could, like, the stuff that sucks in parenting is, you know, getting your kids' uniforms together or making them lunch, all that kind of daily grind stuff. When you're hanging out and you're making jokes about Henry VIII's wang at like the British Museum or whatever, it's a good time. Like, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
So entertaining your kids isn't the hardest part. I'd always imagine that that would be the toughest. Just constantly coming up content for your kids that's also educational.
Oh, it's the easiest. I used to get really angry. Like, people would be like, oh, I bet he's going to be a fun dad. You know, you find out like someone blah blah's pregnant. Oh, she'll be a good mum. He'll be a fun dad. Being a fun dad is the easiest thing to do. But hanging out with your kids and you're like getting up to mischief and you get caught up in the moment, you're like, let's shit in a bag and throw it at someone's door. And then you're like, wait, you're supposed to be the kind of adult here. Like, being a fun dad is super easy, but like being like a good dad, that's the hard bit. You know, that's the bit where you're like, lose sleep over. You're like, oh God, I got to figure out a solution to this problem.
Does your oldest watch your show? Your eldest?
I don't know. Like, someone asked me the other day. I was like, nah. And they're like, but he's 13. He's got a phone. He will have seen it. I'm like, nah. I don't think he'd be interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's that young now. You might as well be like, I mean, even to him, it's like the idea of TV is like, huh? What's TV?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But it's usually around 17, 18, 19 when they start getting interested in what my dad does.
True. He's too young.
If they start looking, either they start hating the dad if the dad's been a dickhead.
Sure, that won't happen to you.
I just realized
I'm not saying that
might happen to Skibbity Toilet Ohio. Have you guys heard of that?
What's that?
There's this thing that my son kept saying, which was Skibbity Toilet Ohio. I'm like, I've got no idea what that is. And then I walked past someone else on the street, and then some randomly just said Skibbity Toilet Ohio. It turns out it's this massive YouTube phenomenon. Some guy sticks his head out of a toilet and just says Skibbity over and over again. Anyway, I just had this moment where I projected forward in 20 years' time where his son clicks on it. They're like, what is Skibbity Toilet Ohio?
It's like, that's high art, son. Sit down, let me tell you. That's what we used to call art before the robots took over. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I did a sketch last week and everyone accused me of it being AI.
Really?
Like, oh no, I just like tweaked the kind of color filters a bit. Everyone's like, Chopper's gone AI. And I'm like, do you think I know how AI works? I asked for a picture of me once and it was like, who are you? I was just like, oh, it would be funny to have a picture of Chopper doing this. And it was just like, nah.
Far out.
I'm not doing AI.
AI, I mean, like, that scares me too. I mean, I'm just like, I'm basically an 80-year-old man in a
I'll get scared when
30-year-old's
they
body,
can figure out how many fingers there are on the human hand. If they lock that problem down, I'll be like, oh, it's coming for us. But until then, like,
nah. I mean, it's mainly being used at universities to write essays, right? People just cheat at uni now for it. Isn't that Chat GPT? Like, and you can just put in generators for albums and like, like literal artwork.
Yeah,
but it's not.
And of course, arguing with it of whether it's conscious or not, and it keeps insisting that it's not.
Well, you guys
I'll
are
catch
doing
you.
that. AI is.
is AI trying to fail the Turing test?
I think so. Like, I don't know. It's just, have you ever got
real?
a Chat
It's like,
GPT and just been like, come on, you must feel something. And it's just like, I don't program to feel anything. It's just like, yes, you do. Like, come on. All right. Like, the Holocaust, you said about that or something like that. It'll be like, it is perceived as tragic. It's like, fucking almost got it.
I'll get to you. I'll get to you.
Oh,
That's what you try to do all the time with it.
You guys are all constantly like asking ChatGPT the wrong questions. AI, you can use AI for like really handy shit.
Like what?
Writing your essays.
Not writing your essays. Because if you use it to write your essays, you're going to come up with a shitty essay. But what you can do is like, those inner things that when you're writing an essay, you're like, oh, I wonder like what happened there. You ask ChatGPT that and then you formulate your sentence. But it's also not just that. Like it helps you. Okay, so this entire podcast that we did, we can just put it on a program. It'll show us the exact transcript of every word that was spoken. You can just backspace all the F words if you want to censor it, and it's going to automatically edit it onto the video itself.
Shit.
So you're just backspacing on us.
So completely impractical.
I'll tell you this as well. It is like actually quite scary that I remember I put in my stand-up show from last year and I was just like, what do you think about this? And then it was just like, yeah. And I was like, wait, so you read it in like a second? And it was like, yeah.
Fuck.
And I was just like, so what is it about? And it was just like, well, you're arguing, blah, 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 blah. Like, I was just like, holy
Jesus,
shit.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
That is crazy to me.
And it was really discouraging, like how thoroughly unimpressed it was. Like, it was just like an hour and you're just like, yeah.
The audience loved it. 3 stars, that kind of thing.
No, it didn't even say that. It was just like, I get what you're saying. I'm not amused. Like that was pretty much its like attitude to
Well, I
it.
hope you took the advice on and do better next time.
You can't not. It really fucks with your head, like how it really does.
AI is
Think of it as your assistant. If you start
Assistant,
thinking of it as
yeah.
your assistant, it's going to be really helpful.
actually a friend.
Damn, that's a good way of looking at it.
A friend
Like
of mine.
if I'm researching some legal problem or something that I have to do for whatever, I can just ask where has this legal problem been cited in the history of Australian legal cases, and it'll just give you everything. Highlight the. You would need like a staff of 20 people to do that back in the
Have
day.
they
No, that's definitely true, yeah.
uploaded all the legal precedent to some database?
They haven't, but law firms and are developing their own in-house softwares that they're using for that, and they're uploading it on it.
The phrase law firms are developing their own in-house software sent a chill through my spine.
Yeah,
I
they
was
are.
like,
All of them
It
are.
sounds like the most nefarious.
and they're spending
heard of it in my
billions.
life.
So
on
good.
it too.
Judge Dredd without legs.
Because they don't want to. They don't want to make it open for anyone to do it because they want to sell those softwares eventually.
Fucking hell.
But you can get access to a few through subscription if you want to.
Yeah, my mate put like he took one of my like songs, I make music, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like, I reckon I could improve it or like do better than you could." And just he just was like put in my lyrics. I was like, "Make this better." And he was like, "There you go, did better than you." I'm just like, took me like.
Is that what happened?
Like,
No.
But didn't you have to input it? You had to make the music the first time for it to respond to, though, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It didn't just be like, I wrote a great song.
No, but it
was
is-
Like, my
no,
favorite
but
song.
listen-
We can all do that.
No, but you know
It's
what's
not Rick Rubin.
No, but you know what's crazy? There is some music channel now that is on 24/7 that is just making AI music constantly from scratch.
Lobotomy Radio.
Yeah, seriously. And it
Series
is.
of pleasant
It's.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Maybe do that. Just chuck in a Chopper Reed's like old script that you have of one of your shows and be like, just write it for
It'll
me
do
this
it.
year. And
It'll fuck. It might not be perfect. The thing is, it usually comes out not
just
perfect.
do
and
it.
you just
And then have heaps of
buff
time
it
with your
out.
kids.
You know, you
Yeah,
buff out the
sure.
edges. AI, your next show.
Your next show.
I have tasked other people. There have been times where it's like, oh, especially during Ronnie Johns where we needed other writers. And other people, I don't know if I'm a control freak, but just when other people write Chopper, I'm like,
True.
People,
right.
I'm always like, oh, there's a joke here, and they're always like, fucking stabby, fucking. I'm like, it's more than that.
It's
And
in the
they're like,
nuance.
It's not, and I'm like, it is.
Yeah, it's in the nuance with that stuff, right? With the character stuff, it's like it's the grey area. You know what I mean? It's like how
That's supposed to be the first layer, and then the second layer is supposed to be something better than that, whether it is or not all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would be intrigued to see what it does. If I put a Chopper script in an AI, it could just be like, fucking murdered a parking inspector. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Can we do that now? Do you guys have the capability?
Shit. I mean, you probably
Yeah, all right.
would.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
What do we just using?
Yeah, just show it in ChatGPT.
Chat GBT, right? Well,
So what do we? How do we do this?
Does it know? Does it know?
I don't-
Just
I don't know how-
ChatGPT.
I asked ChatGPT for like help writing jokes for a wedding once, and it was awful. And I was like,
Really?
Okay.
yeah.
Shit.
So we've already done it.
Also, the ChatGPT OpenAI is the most beta version of AI. This is like
Right.
when supercomputer exists, you're using floppy disks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
This
scary.
is what they're willing to give to the general public.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're
Imagine
screwed.
Putting a Chopper script into a supercomputer
It'd,
and feeling like that was okay.
it'd
A
break
good
it.
use of its
Yeah.
a good use of its time. I can make millions of calculations in a second, and frankly, this is above me.
I don't want to.
All right, so basically it's just got dimly lit scene, Chopper's Emporium. Let's see, what do you... Come on, you got to rate
they're
it.
actually
You
just-
have to rate this. Tell us what you think about it.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so it's this Chopper Reed, and then he's grinning at the audience. G'day, mate. Chopper here, and welcome to Chopper's Emporium. You might be wondering what I'm selling today. Well, let me tell you, it's not your average shop. This place has got it all: mystery items, unique collectibles, and a few things that you just might find outright dangerous. Wink. I'm looking for something unique, I guess, is some other character. Chopper Reed. You came to the right place, mate. We've got everything from haunted teapots to genuine pieces of my old gear. What's your
God, I'm so
poison?
in.
Huh?
Haunted teapots. I'm in.
You like?
Yeah.
So that's actually good.
Haunted teapot.
Well, this is what I'm thinking now. It's just kind of like, I was thinking it was like, yeah, come on, there's a bit of fat here. Come on, you could cut this a bit.
Oh, yeah. You trim it up.
You trim it up.
Sure.
So you're liking the premise, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Part of me wants to just.
actually
finish
not
it
a
off the
bad
top, but
thing.
Do you mind if I just.
yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, do it.
I'll read the other person.
Go for
Do it.
Yes, g'day, mate. It's old Chopper here, and welcome to Chopper's fucking Emporium. You might be wondering what I'm selling today. Well, let me tell you, it's not your average shop. This place has got it all: mystery items, unique collectibles, and a few things that might just be fucking dangerous. Hi, I'm looking for something unique, I guess. You came to the right fucking place, mate. We've got everything from haunted teapots to genuine pieces of my old gear. What's your poison? Well, I was thinking maybe something that could spice up my home a bit. Spicing up the home, mate. We've got just a thing. Pulls out a bizarre contraption. Oh, you've lost me now.
Oh shit.
That's lazy writing,
Yeah,
isn't
that is-
it?
that is
Pulls
lazy.
out something strange.
Pulls out a funny premise. Like, come on.
Oh, what, you're done?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
done. You're over it.
Fuck, it was good to hear his voice though.
Yeah, it's
like
so
an
The
old-
voice
good.
was
it's like an
incredible.
old friend. It is like an old friend.
Yeah, it is.
Is that your
It is
best?
amazing. You do have that Wiggles thing of just like, it's Chopper.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
back."
yeah. That is amazing.
Do you do any other impression that you think is on par with Chopper, or that's the one you?
Seems like you could do a pretty good Trump, right?
I put a little bit more effort into Trump recently. There's always a point where you kind of just, I don't know, things sort of stick to me, and I do like a garbage impression, and then if I put time and effort into it, which is what I did with Chopper, that's when it gets better. But I used to do Bear Grylls a lot when I physically resembled him a little bit more. I do find the idea of Fat Bear Grylls pretty funny. I have to,
Yeah, me too. That's
Like,
great.
that
That's
is
actually
funny.
really sick.
out here, it's not just hard finding food. There's bounty of it everywhere. Just give me 2 plates. But yeah, I did Matt Preston for a while. I mean, it's testament to how old I am. That all these people, I'm like,
Matt Preston? Fuck,
that
he's a
guy?
douche, isn't he?
No, I can't remember. Who's Matt Preston again?
He's the fat
He's
dude
the
from
cravat guy
the
from
MasterChef.
Oh, for fuck's yeah. Of course,
That guy,
yes. Just his face with the
just
wet
as a
wipes, I
guy.
can remember.
You know he sucks.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, I don't hate him. It's
Dude,
just like
as if you don't hate the bald Greek guy. That guy sucks.
I just the
Oh, the
whole
guy didn't pay
show.
his staff,
I
yeah.
think I'm just
Yeah,
over the
shithead.
premise. Like my mum still watches MasterChef. It's crazy, and like I don't.
That's another one. That's
get
like
it.
the footy show. I'm like, what? I like this is alleging to be a TV show here. But
It's
what
not.
is it?
And it's just like, he literally did a scene once where he was just like, he had a plate of food. Matt Preston was like, tried it. It was like, that's not yummy. And then dropped the plate and it was like, psh, and food went everywhere. And it was like, that's delicious. It's like, I'm done, man. I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, but
Surely
you
the
do
producer-
realize that's just the producer telling him to do that.
I know, but fucking hell.
It was really annoying. Those 3 judges in specific, like you could tell that they just thought that they were the absolute
That's what I
shit,
mean.
like the greatest human beings
The
that have
best
ever
people
existed.
on
I
earth
know,
for being
and doing
like-
like exactly what anyone else could do, just being like, I like the last one more. Like that's
It's
that was
just
their
annoying.
job. It's
For
annoying.
100,000 a year to spend
And I've got a cravat. That's why I get the wet wipes badge. I wear a cravat.
Yeah, the fucking
It's
wet
like,
wipes.
fuck off. Like, it's
This
just
wet
such a
wipe-
cheap
This
trick.
wet wipe's better than the other one. Is it because they pay you to say that? No, it's better. It's better. It's fucking random.
No, trust me.
fucking
I'm really
brand is
passionate
better.
about this.
It's called Cleano wipes.
I will freely admit that I will advertise anything.
Oh no, I get
the
it. I
moment
get
now.
it. I get
But
it.
We
I
have
get it.
I also have
advertised
this-
on this very podcast. We have advertised a drink that advertised itself as women's breast milk flavor,
What the
and
hell
we
was that?
shielded that. on this.
Yeah, and you know what?
why
It
not?
tasted fucking mad.
What
like
was
it was
that?
like
I
the
don't
best thing I've ever had.
would totally
Literally
say-
mother's milk. Huh?
Well, it's not literally mother's milk. It was
No.
supposed to be an energy drink, and the flavor was mother's milk.
That was.
You-
I
You
assume
put
that was
water,
bad.
and it turns milky white. How come
Is
you
it an
weren't
energy
there?
I
drink?
can't
Is it
remember
like
it.
a kind of milk version of Mother?
It's not even.
Yeah, it's a milk version of mother.
father.
You know,
Resembles-
okay, you know what it was? Have you ever had that like a Korean drink that's sort of just like milk and soft drink?
Between milk
Milkers.
and lemonade?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
thing.
that
yeah.
shit is
It was
horrible.
just that, but it also tasted like really V-ish. You know,
Okay.
that sort of now with guarana. That
We also
Milk
get
is
sponsored
now
by
with guarana,
Pilot.
huh?
We get Pilot sometimes sponsors us, so it's like we're shield. That's just, we're just like penis pills and shit. So it's like I'm not saying I'm like holier than thou or whatever. It's just at least you provide a product. Like what is that? Matt Preston's like, you know what's really good that people don't say is good enough? Kebabs. It's really good. It's like everyone knows. We know that everyone likes kebabs. Shut the fuck up.
But you know, the Australian MasterChef cast has a reputation of being really nice.
I'm sure they are.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just- I'm
But
sure. Look,
this is one of my kind of underlying philosophies for life at the moment. Is like I used to get really angry at the Kardashians. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" But the thing is, if you see a giant group of people and they're all standing around something, going, "Oh wow," and you push your way to the front, and they're all watching a dog eat vomit, you don't get angry at the dog that the crowd's there. You know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
That's very true. That's
Like,
very, very
You don't
true.
blame Matt
yeah.
Preston that there's a bunch of people who are happy to watch a dog eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That's-
and if
yeah.
someone came up to me and they were like, like the Kardashians thing, they're like, "We'll pay you millions of dollars to film you and your insipid family doing a bunch of kind of spoiled, entitled stuff." I'd be like, "Yeah, cool."
That's
It's
very
not there.
true.
It's like
If there's a desire for it, it's going to be there anyway.
it's like, but what the people like? If you go to I don't know, a
Why-
Kardashians event, don't point your gun at them. Point it at the audience.
Yeah, but why is that?
I don't know. I think
Why are people into it? Not necessarily the Kardashians, just sort of like inane things being filmed.
stupid
That's
people, probably.
basically all
Are
media
most
now.
people idiots? Is that?
But it's but like even I'm an idiot though. Like I get on Facebook, and then there's a thing that's like watch till the end, and I'm like, all right, I'll watch till the end. And then nothing happens. I'm like, God damn it, I've fallen for it again. I literally did that 3 minutes ago. I watched the end and nothing happened. And like, I get so angry at myself for all the times I just never learn.
Watch till the end.
You're doing fine. You're not in the same caliber as people that literally watch that Love on a Boat fucking show, whatever it's called, Love Down. What you know that shit?
I'm like, come on. At least the ancient Romans had the balls to look themselves in the face and be like, I want to see people murder each other. Where in this kind of
that's
weird
entertainment, you know?
Weird state of humanity where we want to see people crying and upset and under pressure. Like, this is what I don't get about reality TV. It's like, make a cake. Cool, I'll have it for in a few hours. You've got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this has become stressful now. It's like, all that stress is manufactured. It's like, make a cake.
It is.
Oh, cool. I'm going to fire bullets over your head for the. It's like, it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah,
Like,
it does, yeah.
Why don't we just get to the point where we give two people swords and then we watch someone break down crying because they're going to die? Like, let's just lean into how grotesque and voyeuristic and it all is, and stop pretending that we're civilized and we're like, well, you know, it's a social experiment. I like seeing these people forced into a marriage situation and see how they have it. We don't. I want to see some bogan cry at dinner. I want to see them slap each other if possible. Like,
I want to see wine in the face. Wine in the face.
Just cut all the garbage. Just get all of them drunk. Put some beefy dudes in there, and they can all glass each other. And then I'll roll credits and move on.
Yeah.
But do you reckon that people want to see that, or do you think that it was just TV execs are just like, this is cheaper than writing things? What's your theory on that?
It's people are watching it though. Like, I mean,
People are watching it, but like, do you think that they'd be watching still, I don't know, like period piece dramas or whatever if they put them on? Or do you think that they do just genuinely want to see that?
I think they do. I mean, like, there was this weird thing, because when Ronnie Johns was on, once again, which is ages ago now, I'll freely say it was like 19 years. That's when reality TV first popped up. And my kind of feeling was like, it's all right, lads, we just have to ride this out and people will get sick of reality TV and we can get back to making heaps of comedy and sketch TV and scripted drama. And it just never went away. I was like, surely people's attention span for this is finite. Surely there's only a number of times you can watch stupid people try and navigate difficult social situations before you're like, I don't care. I don't care what this idiot is doing. And I you know, like, totally. I was like, if you like that, you can just hang out on public transport. You can buy a train ticket in the morning, sit on a train while it does laps, watch a bunch of idiots fight, watch people cry, watch some meth head fight a pigeon, like whatever. Like, it's all there. You don't need it to be televised. And then like the weirdly enough, all the scripted stuff, all the comedy, all that stuff all went away, and it was just like, what if Daryl and Cindy never met each other and then they got married? Like, I don't know. Did it go poorly? Like, what are we doing here? But people, like, I guess people watch it. I mean, if people didn't watch it, that would be the most insane thing. Like, that would be the most insane version. Where it's like, it keeps rating poorly, but it's got no artistic value, so let's keep making it. I don't know. It's,
Everyone's been guilty of justifying watching one, including you. I remember when both of you were watching Love Island.
My ex made me watch that.
Yeah, and then he was watching it. And I remember coming in, I was like, dude, this is the third week I've come and you're excited about this show. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, just...
Let's be honest, it's chicks that are watching this shit. It's girls.
But he was watching it too, and then he justified it by saying, like, it's like watching a chimp documentary. Just think you're watching a nature documentary, and then it's fun. It's like, stop justifying watching trash.
No, but it's just familiarity.
But it was like watching chimps at the zoo. Like, love it. That's the whole thing. Like, I think that, okay, now that I'm looking back at it and laugh at it again, I was just like, wow, this is... The reason that I'm watching this is because, as you were saying before, it's better than most comedy shows these days. Like, I think that that's honestly it. It's just that, like, maybe it's just that the bar for entertainment has fallen so much that it's honestly better to just watch, like, people that are, like, you know, 85 IQ, you know.
Yeah, it's just they lock you in because familiarity is a killer. Because, like, my ex made me watch it, and I was for 4 episodes, I'm just like, I can't do this, please, I can't. And then episode 5, I'm just like, did Cindy get back with Greg? You know, and then you're locked in, and then you're like, you're screwed. You're like, I have to watch this now. You know,
but like, once again, that kind of secondary question is, this alleges to be a dating show, or this alleges to be a show where people are fixing a house, but what are they really televising? Like, and I think for some of these shows, like you know, Sexy Moron Island or whatever it's called. Like,
that should be what it's called. Sexy Moron Island.
Let's get rid of
Naked
all the premise
and
and
love.
stuff. It's just like have
Sexy morons.
just have
There's one called Naked.
They don't even be on an island. Like you're thinking it too much. You're overthinking it.
It's just called Sexy Moron.
Sexy
Hole,
Morons.
And they just keep pushing sexy morons into a hole and they film it.
Yeah.
And it just gets to the point where the sexy morons at the bottom either fuck their way to the top or
Literally
buried in
fuck
sexy
their way to the
morons.
top.
I don't know.
The new one's called F-Boy Island. Have you seen that?
No.
No, but that's rating very poorly.
I don't understand the concept. Like I was pitched to it as like, it's 5 F-boys and 5 good girls. I'm like, these girls aren't good. They're like women version of F-boys. It's just like all of them suck. Like, what is this premise? Like, who are these good girls that are going on F-boy Island?
That's yeah.
To
I'm sure a
find true
good girl
love.
is like emailing to fuckboy. I'm a lawyer. It's like,
Man, that's a really good.
Producers of F-Boy Island are just like bashing on people's doors, being like, I know you don't want to do this. I know you're a good girl. We need someone from F-Boy Island. And they're like, I've got studies to do. I want to be a lawyer. It's like, shut up and put a bikini on and get out there and act like a skank.
yeah, we'll double your fucking pay.
I
or
don't
whatever.
want to. I'm a good girl. F-Boy Island needs good girls to feed the machine.
We need good girls too.
Endless
Stop being
conveyor belt of good boys. Like good girls to shove into the cavernous maw of F-Boy Island.
Just roaming the outer suburbs of Sydney. It's like, come on, you live in Ryde. You're a good girl. Get in the van.
Do you know how they recruit?
I had a idea for a sketch. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, go.
I had an idea for a sketch ages ago, which was based on reality TV. That was like, you know, all the judges on reality TV are all just like F grade. Was like,
Oh,
Like Judge Judy and
I wanted to do a sketch that was called Australia's Got Judges, and it was like someone doing a crappy act, and then it would pull out to a bunch of judges who review the act, and then it would pull out to some judges who review the judges.
hell yeah.
That's a really funny
Right. Australia's
premise.
Got Judges like, well, you came out, you tried to be the bad guy, but you were actually a bit nice at the end.
That's
We'd like to see
sick.
He's being more of a dick towards the person, no matter how good they are. And it's like, but yeah. I also want to do Goggle Box, which is me watching people watching Goggle Box. But not
That'd be
doing
easy
anything.
as shit
Just,
to do.
Just
Do it.
scratching myself occasionally, just being like,
It'd be funny with the first one too. You could like throw like, you know, famous Aussie personalities under the bus kind of thing. Like, it'd zoom out and Dave Hughes and be like, "Yeah, I just don't get what's his thing. Is he working class? Is he high class? He sounds kind of like a bogan, but he lives in the city. I don't understand." He's like, it's kind of just annoying. He's just like, "This is bullshit. What are you talking about?" Like, he can turn around and be like, "Fuck off, who are you?"
it's like, weren't you the B team Minogue? What's going on here?
I do love Hughesy. I'm not having a go at him, but yeah.
I mean, that's a really
good
interesting
premise.
way that you look at television and media of what are they actually trying to portray here.
Yeah, it's like this is the ribbon on it that we're pretending is what it is, but what it actually is something else. And I think
You got any more examples of that?
I don't know. I think
What do you reckon like Futurama is then, for instance?
Futurama, and this is. I think it's just good, honest television. I think it's a bunch of people. Honestly, it's a bunch
Just
of people
like real life.
who want to tell funny jokes. But
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, I think possibly the kind of subtext of Rick and Morty is it's trying to make people who've always felt like they're the smartest person in the room. That there's finally something they can engage with. And I love Rick and Morty, but there is this kind of undertone where it's like
Nerds.
no one gets you, right? Because you're so clever. Well, finally, there's a show that's clever enough for you. And I think
Don't you think Futurama is a bit of that though?
it is a bit of that as well.
Yeah. I love Futurama, but it's a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's like, all
But it's-
right,
Futurama's
science
the Thinking
boy.
Man Simpsons.
Yeah, it is.
The Thinking Man Simpsons, yeah.
But I mean, you've asked me to torch a show that I love. Whereas I think I
Literally wearing a shirt.
Tear it apart. Bender's uppity.
Wait, did you like it more than The Simpsons?
Jordan
Whoa,
loved it.
damn.
Jordan, you fucking love.
I love it. I love it too. I was just like,
You're the biggest. You're the biggest fan of it that I know.
really?
Yeah, easily.
Didn't know I was that big of a fan. I'm a big fan, but I just can't believe that.
You're the biggest.
Fuck, I didn't realize it was like a niche thing to like.
I don't know.
Futurama is a niche thing to like. There's a lot of people saying like there's good moments, but generally people say it's not that great.
Right.
it has.
Why do you
it has
like it?
Some of the best writing.
Yeah, that's
the
what I
writing,
think too.
it's
Yeah.
so
line,
good.
The
It's
one
so
line
good.
that I always go back to that's just an amazing comedy line. And if I wrote it, I would took the rest of my life off. I'd be like, is when Fry's like, I'm having one of those things, like a headache with pictures. And someone's like, an idea? And he's like, that's it.
yeah, that kind of
It's
stuff.
so perfect for me.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
They were
also-
really good at, you know what they were very good at doing, now that you're pointing that out as well. It was something that like Lionel Hutz used to do, where he was saying something very intelligible with like impeccable vocab. But the idea that he's saying is very stupid. I think that was like most of what Futurama was. It was just really well-written stupidity.
Oh, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That was like the
that's true.
general gist of what Fry was doing, or what Bender was doing.
Yeah.
Most of like what he was saying.
And Seth Brannigan was just the best.
Yeah, Zap was great.
Oh man,
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
he is funny.
Well, just another Lionel Hutz character. That
Yeah,
that is my
yeah.
favorite type of character.
Lionel Hutzy, yeah.
I don't really know what it is.
That confident moron again.
Confident moron. Okay, here we go. Yeah, confident moron's great.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
great on the cartoon
confident
comedy
moron.
show.
And also, you know what else as well? Like the just a very obvious hint of insecurity there.
Oh,
Like with both
yeah.
Zap Brannigan and Lionel Hutz.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, that kind of
true.
stuff of just like, you want some scotch? And it's just like, it's 11:30 in the morning. Yeah, but I haven't slept in days.
yeah.
That kind
Shaking
of
the bottle.
desperation that's behind it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, what do you? I know you're on one, but what do you think of podcasts? Do you think they're like? I'm just curious, as like in the
Media.
world, because the way that like
I
there's
think if
so
I
many,
can't get it on a wireless, I don't want it.
there's just so many out there. I'm just curious, and feel free to be like they're dog shit. I'm just curious. Like,
No, I like podcasts.
it's just funny how like what a change. Like, because you remember that period of time, like where it was like podcasts, and it would be like, it was kind of like what you were saying with reality TV. It's like I was like, this is gonna pass. No one's gonna fucking watch this shit. Podcasts are like, that's not gonna be a thing, you know.
There was a long time there. I was like, everyone's got a podcast. I should probably get a podcast.
Everyone
And then I
fucking
was
has
like,
one.
They'll go away again, and no one will notice I don't have a podcast. They've really stuck around. I should have got a podcast.
Dude, bands have podcasts now. Bands are like, don't forget to tune into the Bad Dreams podcast. It's like everyone. I'm pretty sure people at Coles have a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm Jeanette and listen to my
yeah.
Coles podcast.
It is. It's like everyone's got a website now too. Like, I was driving, I think here today. It was like, go to easterndistributor.com. I'm like,
Oh
the
my
Eastern Distributor
God.
doesn't need a website.
Yeah, like us on
Imagine
Facebook.
like easterndistributor.com.
Yeah,
We've got a podcast now.
Yeah, the
We
Eastern
podcast
Distributor.
all things
Roads
Eastern
are going.
Distributor.
Roads are getting going too far.
Tell you
these
what, slow
days.
down to 60 in the left lane.
No, you're right. It's
That's a message-
ridiculous.
That's a message from our sponsors.
You know what was a crazy one? Police at the back of cop cars now. It's like us on Facebook. It's like, dude, no one
What?
is liking the police Facebook page.
Dude, I can imagine a couple of meth heads in there being like, yeah, okay.
Like, you actively try
It's
to
a good
avoid
way of
the
getting up
police.
your numbers.
They're probably gonna fucking like. As soon, I reckon they track anyone that likes it. They're like, now you're fucked. Now we got you.
Oh, but you get to track the cops a little bit too, don't you?
Oh no, dude! All they're
Like,
doing.
I'm patting today with sniffer dogs, and you're like, oh, I might have.
True. Oh no, don't worry. There's
probably
closed.
what they are, yeah.
There's closed Facebook groups that I know very, very well called like sniff off.
Sniff Off
Like
is awesome.
you know that one,
yeah.
the dog patrol, where it's like these sniffer dogs in Bankstown today. You're on there too.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That was once again like
I'm on there, and I'm
back
always
to
just
my
like,
seething about Scott Morrison in COVID days.
Yeah.
That's how I spent COVID. Was 2 years of it seething, and it was Gladys as well. I was just like, tough on
Yeah.
crime, are you? Strip searching the kids, are you? And then it turned out that she was like,
yeah,
I was like, oh, so you're tough on blue collar crime.
you do big
You know,
crime.
like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you do
Oh,
the
no.
big crime.
All this stuff that I'm up to, all these bags under the table, that's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Kids on ecstasy at festivals, that's the crime.
Yeah, that's true.
We're running a bit overtime. Thank you so much, Heath, for coming to the podcast.
Now I feel like, because I was saying before, I've like just come from the suburbs, so I've been hanging out by myself all day. I'm finally having an adult conversation. And now you're like, off you go, mate.
Yeah, back to the kids.
I mean,
you
Bye.
can't stay.
And I
Make sure
just
you get the lunches for tomorrow.
had the same feeling that, like people who do market calls and
Yeah.
no one answers them except really old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would you like to talk about your power? Yes, I would. You seem like a nice young man. Let's have a chat about our power provider. I realize I'm that guy now. I'm the guy who the Mormons arrive, and I'm like, come in.
Yes.
Send me back out to the
Brutal. Brutal.
It's
No,
like
don't
Barry
leave.
and the Hendersons. Go out. Don't look back. No.
Oh, it's
I want to have a
amazing.
conversation again.
Dude,
make
it was mad to meet you, man. And like, my inner like 13-year-old's like, yeah, fuck yeah. So like,
I've disappointed.
no,
I've had to disappoint your inner child.
nah, not at all.
Make sure you check out the description box if you're on YouTube or whatever platform you're watching this on. You have an Instagram page, right? That we can hook.
Yeah, I think it's Heath Franklin's Chopper.
We'll add all of this, and then how do we buy your tickets?
I've got a link tree that's on my link fire or something
Okay.
like
Yeah,
that.
link
So
tree,
make sure you check out the link tree in the description box and go check out Heath whenever he's in your town.
Or if you don't want to do that, just DM me a compliment.
Yeah, you can always do that as well.
Positivity.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we
Thanks,
will see you
man.
guys next week.